we've been on this investigation of hydroxychloroquine, ivermectin. I believe that, if you're going to have crimes against humanity, it'd be very hard to accuse these people that rushed out a vaccine saying there was an emergency. They did the best they could. They didn't know it was going to infect or, transcribe into your genomic sequence. All of that would be very hard to, get on them about. I think the biggest smoking gun you have is the possibility that they denied life-saving treatments to those people that needed them. That is going to be the most important case that comes out of this entire pandemic. It was a worldwide shutdown of products that thousands of studies showed worked. And so that is why the focus of the Highwire and our investigation has been right there, right in the heart of hydroxychloroquine, ivermectin. Where are the studies and who did the fraudulent studies? Who funded them? And why was that what Tony Fauci was talking about? Who was behind it? Well, today we have a really unique opportunity that another brilliant scientist, I think you could call her a whistleblower, if you will, Tess Lawrie, who is deeply involved in, her work stands for itself. She has consulted the WHO for years. Her specialty is bioethics, scientific ethics, making sure that the scientific method was in place, looking at studies to see if there were anomalies. She looks at things to say to the WHO, you can trust this study. I have run it through my team, and we've looked at all the potential inconsistencies and can verify that this was appropriate science. This is who the WHO goes to. So when she decided to get involved with ivermectin, it was simply because she thought, I want to make a difference in the world, just like Pierre Corey, just like Dr. Peter McCullough, just like Dr. Robert Malone. But what she has that we have not seen yet is perhaps an inside scoop. In her work, she had a Zoom call with somebody that may be standing right in front of that smoking gun, that group or that person or that thing that killed ivermectin. I had the opportunity to sit down with her this week and have what may be one of the most important conversations we have had so far in our investigation of ivermectin. This is Tess Lawrie.
Well, I'm a medical doctor and a research consultant, and I have a company, the Evidence-Based Medicine Consultancy Limited, that I've been running for the better part of the last 10 years. And what we do at EBMC Limited is that we provide evidence synthesis and help develop clinical practice guidelines. And we do this for organizations like the World Health Organization. We have no conflicts of interest, so this is why our work is really valued, and no shares in pharmaceutical companies or anything like that. And we've been helping the World Health Organization develop these guidelines for 10 years. So I'm also EBMC Squared, you mentioned. Now, this is a non-profit company that I started in March last year in response to the unmet needs, really, to safeguard the public and empower them to take more control of their own health during the COVID crisis. And through that company, we have an initiative called the British Ivermectin Recommendation Development Initiative, which is now called BIRD International. And through that, we've been doing research and advocacy work to promote ivermectin as a safe and effective treatment for COVID. So what I do is we'll get a list of interventions that need to be evaluated for a condition. For example, I've worked on the antenatal care guideline for a positive pregnancy experience. These are documents like this, and in these documents there's 40 or so interventions that may be assessed for effectiveness and safety. Not only effectiveness and safety, actually we look at the acceptability and feasibility, the cost effectiveness and equity implications, and also what people's values and preferences are related to interventions. So there's a whole lot of different sorts of evidence that we integrate into what's called an evidence to decision framework, and we prepare these documents, and then usually I would go to Geneva, for example, and present the evidence in front of a panel of stakeholders that would range from, doctors to country representatives. I would assist in guiding them to make a recommendation on whether to recommend an intervention in certain contexts, for example, research, whether to recommend outright or not to recommend because there is insufficient evidence on effectiveness or concerns around harms. No, it was not a commissioned piece of work. When COVID broke out, I wanted to do something useful, and I didn't really have the opportunity. I wasn't working with the COVID team at WHO, but I kept an eye on what was happening. I was concerned about the lack of an evidence base to support most of the strategies that the authorities were recommending. And then I saw Pierre Corey's testimony. Somebody sent it to me actually on the 26th of December. So it was a few weeks after he'd actually done it. And I thought, well, I know everyone at WHO is going to be on holiday at this time. Let me just quickly do a rapid review on the evidence based on the studies that Pierre Corey and his team had included in the review.
We have evidence that ivermectin is effective not only in prophylaxis, in the prevention. If you take it, you will not get sick. We just came across a trial last night from Argentina by the lead investigator of ivermectin in Argentina, Dr. Hector Carvalho. They prophylaxed 800 healthcare workers. Not one got sick. In the 400 that they didn't prophylax with ivermectin, 58% got sick. 237 of those 400 got sick. If you take it, you will not get sick. It has immense and potent antiviral activity. We know that from the first study in Monash, it has made the bench to the bedside. Prophylaxis, we now have 4 large randomized controlled trials totaling over 1,500 patients, each trial showing that as a prophylaxis agent, it is immensely effective. You will not get sick. You will be protected from getting ill if you take it. In early outpatient treatment, we have 3 randomized controlled trials and multiple observation as well as case series showing that if you take ivermectin, the need for hospitalization and death will decrease. The most profound evidence we have is in the hospitalized patients. We have 4 randomized controlled trials there, multiple observation trials, all showing the same thing. You will not die, or you will die at much, much, much lower rates. Statistically significant, large magnitude results if you take ivermectin. It is proving to be a wonder drug. It has already won the Nobel Prize in Medicine in 2015 for its impacts on global health in the eradication of parasitic diseases. It is proving to be an immensely powerful antiviral and anti-inflammatory agent. It is critical for its use in this disease.
So he obviously made very strong statements for a doctor he's reticent about, but he said, I am saying it's a miracle cure. Obviously, very big statements. He talks about a body of scientists that he's been working with. So you decided to try and evaluate the information that he was referencing, the studies that they were pointing to. And so what did you see there?
I must just point out it was very strange to me to see a doctor having to stand and beg before politicians to use a safe old medicine. So my curiosity was piqued. And so I included the randomized controlled trials, and I also included the observational controlled studies that I assessed as being of higher quality. And when I pulled the data, it was clear to me that ivermectin was most likely a game changer for us, and that it should be used for both prevention and treatment. And in actual fact, that it really made placebo-controlled trials unethical, because you couldn't give a placebo to somebody after looking at that body of evidence. It was clear you had to at least give them a chance with ivermectin.
And you're talking about a drug that is, when we think about emergency use authorizations or things like that, this was not a brand new drug. It wasn't one that we didn't know the safety profile on. It's being used all over the world. Millions of people have been using it. What were the benefits of ivermectin? You know
ivermectin's it's actually on the World Health Organization's list of essential medicines. And to be on that list, it's got to be incredibly safe.